name is Lisa Grosh, and I and my family have been reveling with the Washington Rebels for many years. Today, we're going to talk about Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, and I'm going to show you how to make sugar skulls. The Day of the Dead is a Mexican holiday that's celebrated throughout Mexico, in the United States, and in some parts of Latin America. It's a celebration of the lives of the people that we've lost, sometimes over the course of the last year. And it's not to be confused with Halloween. It's a joyous celebration. And before the holiday, there are lots of preparations that are done. And people go many times to markets to buy sugar skulls, so something like this, and this is what we're going to make. At the markets you can find sugar skulls, you can find all kinds of items to decorate altars, to decorate your home, lots of flowers, and even a special bread called pan de muertos. So we're going to focus on the sugar skull, and it's something that is made in various phases. We don't have these kinds of markets. In fact, in Mexico, they have specialized markets for Day of the Dead, and it's a lot of fun to go and browse all the items and to buy certain things and to get all ready for the holiday. We don't have those markets, and so that's why I've been making my own sugar skulls for many years. And when my children were here at the house, they remember fondly that during this time of year, the dining room table would be covered with sugar skulls in all different phases of preparation, and we would give them to teachers or we would give them to friends, and just something nice to let people know and kind of share one of our family's traditions. So let's begin. So what do you need? Not too many things, but critical, of course, are the plastic molds. And you'll see that there is a front and a back. We're going to fill these with sugar, or a mixture with some other things, and then after they dry, we'll be putting them together, and then we'll be decorating them. You can find the molds probably online. I happened to get these at the Smithsonian Market during the Folklife Festival many years ago. So again, sugar, meringue powder, and then we're going to add water. Then for decorating, what you need is some colored foil if possible, and then icing tips and color, and then we'll decorate them just like you would decorate a cake. So let's begin with filling the molds first. I'm going to put together 3 cups of sugar. So for every cup of sugar, use a teaspoon of meringue powder. Again, that's going to harden. It represents kind of the what you would use for an egg white, for example, to stiffen. And then a teaspoon of water. So I already have here 2 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of meringue powder. I'm going to add another cup of sugar, another teaspoon of meringue powder, and then I usually use a fork, and I'm going to mix that all around. And then I'm going to add the water, a teaspoon at a time. So again, I've got 3 cups of sugar, 3 teaspoons of meringue powder. I'm getting that all mixed up. Now I'm going to add the 3 teaspoons of water, one at a time. Now I'm going to blend that, and you can use your hands as well, but you're going to blend this until it gets the consistency of beach sand. So I've been mixing the sugar with the meringue powder and the water, and it's nice, and you can see it looks really like beach sand. It's not like normal sugar, but it's also not wet. It doesn't feel wet. It just feels slightly damp, and it's the perfect consistency. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mold, and I've doused a little bit of cornstarch in there. I'm going to just very lightly coat that mold. Not so much. It's really just we do this so that when we put the sugar in there and it dries, it will more easily come out of the mold. but you don't want to have any kind of a real layer of it in there. It's really just a very light dusting. I just move my fingers around in there, and then I just kind of pat it over the sink to get any kind of deposit of that. Then I take a spoon and I begin filling the mold. And I press all of this sugar in here. And each time I just really pack it in there, not unlike when you're making a sandcastle at the beach. It's a very similar process, in fact. So we're going to press all of that in there. Some places will tell you that you can kind of leave it a little empty in the middle. I always have filled it completely because I think it's easier to put them together when there's something to attach it to on the other side. So you'll see I've got, you can see here, it's just about done. I want to make sure that all of that sugar is pressed up to the edges so that we get a perfect form. And I just keep doing that. I'm just about there. And I'm pressing it down very, very hard, making sure that every little edge of the mold is full. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, that should do it. And I'm just going to take my fingers a little bit and press, make sure that that's all in there. I think you can probably see that. And then I'm just going to set this on the dining room table and I'm going to let it dry. Dry for at least 12 hours or longer. And I'm going to subsequently fill each one of these. So I've got the back of that one. I have some smaller skulls like this. So I'll go ahead and fill as many of these as I have until I use up all the sugar. Let them dry at least 12 hours, usually kind of a day and a half. And then I'll show you how to take them out of the molds. So our sugar skulls have been in the molds now for over 12 hours. It's important to make sure that they have that time to sit because they will crumble if you try to take them out beforehand. And it's actually been raining overnight, and so it's a little humid, and so I've actually kept these in a little bit longer. We have some help today. Allie Names, my daughter, who was in multiple Rebels, both in the children's chorus and the teens chorus, and she's been wanting to, she's seen me do this many, many times, and so she's been wanting to learn as well. So we're going to take these sugar skulls out of the molds. I'm going to start here. I have the bottom, not the face, kind of the back of the head, and I'm going to just flip this over. And remember, I put that cornstarch, that very, very thin layer of cornstarch in the top, and so as you'll see, it comes out very nicely. Now, this part is still humid. It's also been drying, so I'm going to just set this down on the plate, and I'm going to let that dry for another 12 hours. So let me take one other one out. Allie, if you want to start. So it's important to keep your hand like that, and then you'll feel it loosen out. And let's see. The face part is a little bit trickier because you have the indentations for the eyes, for the teeth, and the chin and the nose, and I can feel it's really quite, this sugar is still quite loose. So I'm going to put them on this plate, and like I said, I'm going to let those dry for another 12 hours. So while Allie is finishing those and doing such a nice job, here I've got others that I've been drying on this tray. And after we unmold these, we will then start putting the front together with the back. Bam. Excellent, good job. All right, so these skulls have been now drying. This part is all dry as well, and so we're ready to put them together. Before we do so, I want to show you that the molds that you can get also come in these sizes. And if you look at them, you'll see these are just one skull that's one piece. This is a skull as well with, it's hard to see, but with fancy hats on them. And you can just do these and decorate them. I've done some like this before and then slipped them in a nice little candy bag with a little bow on it and given them as gifts to children and such. And when they come out of the molds, they'll look like this. And so these are all ready to begin decorating. But we're not going to decorate those right now. What we're going to do is put together the front of the skull. So here you can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth is down here. This is the bottom of the chin. And this is the back of the head. And when you put these together, you just want to make sure that you don't put them upside down. So there are two little kind of temples down here that are at the base of the skull. And so when we put these together, it's going to fit just like that. Now, to do that, I have mixed up some royal icing. And this is just like the kind of icing that you would put on a gingerbread house. So what I've used here is 2 pounds of powdered sugar. I've added a half a cup of meringue powder. Again, our meringue powder is the secret ingredient that makes everything hold together. And then 2/3 a cup of water. You mix that with an electric beater for about, 5 to 10 minutes. The key thing is that you want to make sure that you get it nicely evenly mixed. And also you'll see there's a little bit of a sheen here, and you'll see the consistency, because that's really going to be our glue, just like it's the glue on a gingerbread house. And so what we're going to do is, and I should note too that when I put this together it was a little bit too stiff, and so I added just a little bit more water to get it to this consistency. Now what we're going to do, so Allie, you can take the front of a skull, and we're going to put some of this royal icing on the back of the front of the skull here. And you want to make sure that you don't extend beyond where that piece is going to end up, or otherwise you're going to have icing down here with nothing to attach. So I usually just take a knife, and it doesn't take too much, and you don't want to move it around too much, but you want to make sure that it goes to the edge there. And then I'm going to put this piece, let's see, it looks like I need to extend this a little bit farther, down here. Haha, did you get it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So make sure and push it together tightly so that it gives you a nice stick and that you don't have, let's see, I think I need still a little bit more here.
And how do you want me to put it down?
So,
Like that?
yeah, you need to make sure, you need to set it in a way that, did you push it together well?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to put it in a way so that the front's not going to slide off the bottom as it is sitting there. So it looks like you've done a good job there. Allie is a lot faster than me. This one is, and I can feel it kind of sliding on here a little bit, so that's why it's important to set it down in a way and to make sure that that piece is not sliding off of it. All right, and then we'll just continue with these, and again we'll have to let these dry for a certain period, and then we'll be able to start decorating them. All right, so my helper has left, but the skulls are now dry. So all of this royal icing that we put in between to make this stick, that is hard, the skulls are hard, and they are ready to decorate. So with the remaining icing that I had, I divided it into 5 different small dishes, and then I added icing colorant that you can buy at the grocery store, at a store like Michael's, a craft store. And I mixed the colors, Allie picked the colors, and I began decorating some of these. So here is one. You'll see that I used a combination of foil for the eyes, and there's this strip of foil here, that's a common decoration, but you can do whatever you want. There are also some beads that I embedded in the icing on top to give it a little bit of a festive look. Here's another one. You can really do anything that you want. It's actually kind of relaxing to just sit, listen to some music or something, and just let your creativity flow. Here are some smaller ones. These were hard to see when I took them out of the mold. It's a female skeleton with a fancy hat. Again, I used the red foil. And the foil that I've used, I've cut out those circles. You can buy these just pieces of foil like this, so very easy to work with. So let's begin decorating one of these so I can give you a sense of what you're going to do. And again, there are no rules. Just let your creativity run with it. So I'm going to start by putting in the red foil for the eyes, and I'm going to use the closest color, and I'm going to just put a little bit of icing in the eye socket there. Like that. Sometimes it's hard to stick. And then I'm going to take these pieces like this and just place them in there. They will harden. I think I'm also going to put another strip across the top. So I'll just make a strip of icing like that. And again, I will just place this foil here. There might be some excess icing that comes out. I also work with a toothpick, and if I have excess icing like that, I just take it out, dab it on a paper towel. And you can alternate the colors like I have over here. You can use one color, you can use two colors, so really whatever you want. I think I'm going to use some purple on this one. And this is a tip that's kind of like a star, so I think I'm going to do a few little stars on the top of this one. Row down here too. And you might, if you're not used to piping icing like this, you might want to, use a paper towel and just make some designs just to get the feel for it. I think I'm going to pipe in yellow nose as well. And so what I'll do here, there's a little bit of a mark here where there's a nose, so I'm going to go kind of like that. I might also, just like I did over on that one, I might put in a few little dots around the eyes. So you'll see it really goes quite quickly. And then I think I'm going to put in a mouth. Maybe we'll do a purple mouth. And typically what you see is either kind of a zigzag mouth like that, or you can also just do something that goes straight across like that, and then kind of put in some teeth vertically like this. So you'll see it goes pretty quickly. Maybe I'll add some green over along this side, maybe some kind of zigzags like this. One of the things you need to be careful of is that you don't, the icing is still wet, And so as you're working with it and as you're holding it and you get icing on your fingers, you need to make sure that that you don't put your fingers in the icing. I've done that quite a few times, and anyway, you can usually fix it. But anyway, so this is how you decorate the skulls. I hope that some of you will throw yourselves into this. It's like I said, something that you're going to do over a period of days because of all of the drawing. But it's a fun thing to do with your families, your children, and I hope you enjoy them. So happy Dia de Muertos.